A very good evening to all brothers and sisters in the Dhamma. Today is 26 March 2026, Thursday class. We will be continuing our sharing from this book, our Heart Sutra. We are at page 200, section 2.2. Okay, as usual, we compose our mind, develop the faith, Saddha, Virya. Then mindfully, we shall commence the Puja chanting. Namo 本师释迦牟尼佛 Namo 本师释迦牟尼佛 Namo 本师释迦牟尼佛 Namo 观世音菩萨 Namo 观世音菩萨 Namo 观世音菩萨 Namo 阿弥陀佛 Namo 阿弥陀佛 Namo 阿弥陀佛 Namo 弥勒佛 Namo 弥勒佛 Namo 弥勒佛 Namo 药师佛 Namo 药师佛 Namo 药师佛 Namo 普贤菩萨 Namo 普贤菩萨 Namo 普贤菩萨 Namo 文殊菩萨 Namo 文殊菩萨 Namo 文殊菩萨 Namo 地藏王菩萨 Namo 地藏王菩萨 Namo 地藏王菩萨 Namo 准提菩萨 Namo 准提菩萨 Namo 准提菩萨 Namo 佛菩萨 Namo 佛菩萨 Namo 佛菩萨 Arahang Sama Sambuddho Bhagava Buddhang Bhagavatāṃ Abhivādemi Swakato Bhagavata Dhammo Dhammang Namasami Supatipanno Bhagavato Sāvaka Sangho Sanghang Namami Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa Buddhaṃ Saranang Gacchāmi Dhammang Saranang Gacchāmi Sanghang Saranang Gacchāmi Dutiyampi Buddhaṃ Saranang Gacchāmi Dutiyampi Dhammang Saranang Gacchāmi Dutiyampi Sanghang Saranang Gacchāmi Tatiyampi Buddhaṃ Saranang Gacchāmi Tatiyampi Dhammang Saranang Gacchāmi Tatiyampi Sanghang Saranang Gacchāmi Pāṇātiپātā Veramani Sikkhapadang Samadhiyāmi Ādinādāna Veramani Sikkhapadang Samadhiyāmi Kāmesu Micchāchārā Veramani Sikkhapadang Samadhiyāmi Musāvādā Veramani Sikkhapadang Samadhiyāmi Surameraya Majjapamadatthana Veramani Sikkhapadang Samadhiyāmi Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Okay, let us pay respect to Puja. Buddhaṃ Pujami Dhammang Pujami Sanghang Pujami So to do the awareness-based meditation, you only need to relax, maintain awareness, and silence everything so that you can stabilize your awareness. Mm. These are the so-called force support that will support you to develop the awareness-based meditation. So like the word awareness-based meditation, our main intent is to develop this inner awareness, which is mindfulness. To be mindful is to be aware without thought. Just that nature within, the pure awareness nature that is ever aware. Is a nature that is completely aware. But the moment you create a thought, or you try to perceive something, or some kind of activity more, then you already lost in thought. You have moved away from the pure awareness nature. So sati basically, or mindfulness, is an awareness before the knowing, before the arising of the thought process, the aggregates of mind. So to develop awareness, technically, if you understand, you just silent and don't do anything. Don't even try to know or try to do. The trying is always by the thought. When thought is active, you actually fail to be in the state of sati or awareness. So thought proliferation or thought activity is the movement away from the pure awareness nature. So if you understand that, then you will know how to meditate. So to meditate is to be heedful, and to be heedful there are two parts. First, you have to be mindful, train the mind to be aware, mindful. Then stabilize it so that it is ever mindful. Following Dhammapada verse 23, the ever mindful, constantly meditative, and steadfast one, they will realize the supreme enlightenment, which is Nibbana. So to realize the enlightenment, which is the realization of Nibbana, is to develop these two, ever mindful, constantly meditative. Constantly meditative means in the state of ever mindfulness, you develop the meditative understanding that is constantly meditative. Or you can say, constantly cultivating the wisdom, the understanding, which is mainly the cultivation of the Noble Eightfold Path through sati or mindfulness. That's why sati is the main criteria. Without sati, you cannot be mindful. And without mindfulness, you cannot be ever mindful. And if you are not ever mindful, you cannot be heedful. As simple as that. So I will let you all continue with the training of the mind to be aware. So initially, don't be like anxious to progress. You just follow instruction to stabilize the inner mindfulness or awareness. When you are able to do that, you will progress and you will develop good understanding of the teaching. So just relax. When you are relaxed, body and mind, you don't think. That's why you develop the training to relax. Then after that, your mind, you need something to let it hold on to. So the only thing that normal human beings do is to focus on something or fix it to something. That's why they need an object of meditation or a skillful means to help them actually anchor their mind. But that will most of the time lead to samatha or thought-based meditation, lead to focusing, concentration, or absorption meditation. So what we normally do is we ask you to maintain awareness. Maintaining awareness is not easy. It's to be in that state of awareness before the movement of the mind occur, before the thought process or the aggregates of mind manifest. Means before the perception, before the engagement into feeling, and before the sankhara activity of thinking. Even your planning, your scheming, whatever thought activity that you do involve the movement of sankhara. That's why the paticca samuppada, the first thing is avijja. If you don't have enlightenment, wisdom, you will have ignorance, avijja. And because of avijja, it conditions sankhara. So sankhara is basically all your thought activity. And how does sankhara arise? It only arises when you move to the brain, where the memory is. That's why to perceive you need memory. And to develop the aggregates of feeling, thought activity or sankhara, or mind states, which are emotion that arise when there is a movement away from pure feeling. That's why your stirring of the mind, the like and dislike, everything, they arise through sankhara activity. So maintaining awareness is to silence your mind, not to do anything. Don't try to know, don't try to do. Because the knowing is perception, is by the thought. And the doing is again by the thought. Who do? The thought through the egoic mind, try to do, try to meditate, try to know, try to create thought activity. And sometimes develop unnecessary fear, insecurity, etc. Okay, so with this, I will let you develop the awareness-based meditation, the stability of it on your own. For those who have already developed it, then it's easy to meditate. You can move on to the fourth support. After relax, maintain awareness and stabilizing the awareness. Once you can stabilize it already, then you just silence everything and develop the fourth support, which is trust, T-R-U-S-T, to develop it. And to develop trust, you have to stay at the heart area. Somewhere around your heart area, just aware there. Then whatever activity or movement within the heart area, it could be your heartbeat, your pulse of life, your vibration, or whatever movement around there. You just silence everything and allow that pure awareness nature to develop the movement. When you detect them, like your heartbeat or vibration or whatever, pulse of life or what, you just stay there. Stay there. And let the mind quiet down by itself. Yeah. You can do that. Then the movement will finally start. When you are very good at developing the awareness without thought, once it's stabilized, your mind becomes very quiet, very tranquil and very still. because there is no thought activity, no sankhara, nothing. It's just the pure awareness nature. But to reach that tranquility and stillness is not easy. You must allow your sankhara movement to slow down and finally cease. Because your unfinished conditioning within your thought activity, or what we call your unsettled emotion, fear, worry, anxiety, or whatever. This one need to settle down. And for it to settle down, you have to free your mind. That's the ability to relax. Don't try to know, don't try to do anything. It's very important. Just relax. Maintain awareness. Whatever arises, aware. Finish. It has to arise within the 6 sense bases. So don't continue with the thought activity or proliferation of thinking. Just aware, finish. Aware, finish. This is how you decondition your sankhara activity or thought activity. Then when you become skillful, it stabilizes. When it stabilizes, you can see the sankhara activity and movement that used to monopolize your thought process, that cloud your nature, that one will start to slow down. Then finally cease. When it ceases, there is the beginning of awareness, sati. So you continue to do that. Then once you've stabilized, then you can do the 4th support, stay at the heart. Then when it becomes completely still, you just stay with that tranquility and stillness. Then your mind will enter sati. And when the mind enters sati, you are with that pure awareness nature. That's how you realize your true mind, your silent mind. Then when you can do that, this silent mind without thought will detect the gateway to your nature. When you are able to detect it, the yin-yang energy will melt in, and there is a movement, a flow, which is very beautiful. And whoever who can do that, after you come out of it, you become very different. You start to understand many things. The teaching, everything become very clear to you. Yeah, that is what the true mind's ability to see things as they are, to develop the direct seeing, to insight into phenomena, to realize the 3 characteristics of anicca, dukkha, anatta. Then the movement through the gateway transform the yin-yang energy, external yin-yang energy, into pure energy. And the pure energy is the one that will activate your heart, your internal, what they call nerve centers, or in the, I think they use certain term to describe it. Some call it the chakra, which are the major nerve centers, or the nadis, the more minor nerve centers. So all this will get its own, what they call, movement activated. Then as you activate this, your pure energy will transform your internal vibration. Where all these nerve center actually they vibrate. But once the pure energy transform it, it becomes more and more refined, more and more, what I should say, fine, very fine. Then finally, after a period of cultivation, depending on your ability to understand, comprehend in your past, it can lead to the collapse of the mundane mind. The collapse of the mundane mind, when it happens, is very beautiful. The mundane mind, which is too gross, and when it cannot withstand the fine vibration that has developed through the false support, then the mundane mind will lose its ability to stay there. Then when it collapses, it's like a layer of consciousness drop off from your forehead. And during that time, the most beautiful things will happen. Your nature will shine forth. Then it's like you are fully aware after you come out of the meditation. It's like something happened. You become very amazed. And initially you may not know what this thing is. But then it's like the whole nature shine forth. Things that you never see before, now you see. But actually nothing has changed. The question is, before it collapses, you cannot see. After it collapses, you can see. That's why you will come to the realization that truth is everywhere, in the midst of life and nature. Why can't you see? For those who see, they always see. And what is truth? The universal characteristics of nature. The truth of anicca, dukkha, and anatta. These are universal characteristics exhibited by all phenomena. Everything that manifests within the conditioned world. Then you understand the teaching very well. Paticca samuppada, everything you will see. You will know how you function as a human being. Who are you? What are you? All this you will understand. Okay, with that, I will let you meditate on your own. I will set the alarm for 30 minutes. Okay, y'all can slowly, mindfully come out of the meditation. Then try to maintain whatever inner peace, inner calmness, and inner awareness for as long as you can. Okay, the stability of this inner awareness developing into the daily mindfulness is very important. Okay, invocation to the Devas. In this universe, in the entirety, let the deities and Devas come here. Let them hear the good teachings of the King of Sages, which is heaven and release, Nibbana. This is the time to listen to the teaching. This is the time to listen to the teaching. This is the time to listen to the teaching. Samanta Chakawalisu Atra Gachantu Devata Saddhammang Munirajasa Sunantu Sakamokadang Dhammasvanan Kalo Ayang Badanta Dhammasvanan Kalo Ayang Badanta Dhammasvanan Kalo Ayang Badanta Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa Iti peso bhagava arahang samma sambuddho Vijacharana sampanno sugato lokavido Anuttaro Purisa Dhammasarati Satta Deva Manusanam Buddho Bhagavati Swakato Bhagavata Dhammo Sanditiko Akaliko Ehipasiko Opanayiko Pachatang Veditapo Vinohiti Supatipano Bhagavato Sāvaka Sangho Ujupatipano Bhagavato Sāvaka Sangho Nyaya Patipano Bhagavato Sāvaka Sangho Samici Patipano Bhagavato Sāvaka Sangho Yadidang Chatari Purisa Yogani Atta Purisa Pugala Esa Bhagavato Sāvaka Sangho Ahuneyo Pahuneyo Dakineyo Anjali Karaniyo Anuttarang Punyang Ketang Lokasati Sadhu Sadhu Sadhu. Okay, we will continue from where we stopped. We are at page 200, section 2.2. The law of dependent origination, or the Paticca Samuppada. Sometimes we also call it by Itta Pajjata, or the commonly translated English name is the dwelling. These dwelling are the movement of Paticca Samuppada, means dependent on certain thing manifests. And there are 12 of these, as stated clearly in the teaching. But to understand it is not easy. So this Paticca Samuppada is in fact a very important teaching as taught by the Buddha. And this explains clearly to us how we function as a human being, how the mundane activity, mundane link manifests. And one must understand that this is not a linear movement. It is multi-dimensional. For those who have not developed the mindfulness and the awareness, you may not understand the teaching. But for those who have developed the mindfulness, actually this teaching is quite easy. Relatively quite easy to develop the understanding. What is normally explained in the traditional Buddhist teaching, or what we call the text, based on the commentaries, they explain it happening over like 3 lifetimes. And that one, there are so-called a lot of, I think, books, they rely on it, and even a lot of Dhamma teachers or even monks, sometimes they also teach following that Paticca Samuppada as taught in the commentaries over 3 periods of time. But only some teachers or monks who has developed the understanding, they know that this Paticca Samuppada is instantaneous, occurring almost instantly, manifesting almost within our daily life. And sometimes it doesn't finish That's why I say it's multi-dimensional. Its movement, they move very fast. So without stability of mindfulness and awareness, you cannot see, you cannot understand. So you look at all the link. Maybe I will read through first. Yeah? Then there is this arrow that I have drawn. Yeah? They can help you understand. Never mind, later. I had to generally explain it first. Yeah? Because if you use the text immediately, people tend to be conditioned by the text. So now what I try to develop as understanding is, if you listen attentively, then if you have developed the mindfulness, you can understand it then you no need to remember anything. Because this Paticca is a very, very important aspect of the Buddha's teaching. It explains clearly to us how, as a living being, not only human being, how we function and how our mind develop those movements. So the first link is avijja. So according to the teaching, avijja paccaya sankhara. So sankhara here, a lot of people don't understand where this is a Pali word. So the English translation, I think they have to use about at least 5 English terminology to explain what sankhara is. Some call it mental intention, mental volition, and some call it mental activity, some call it mental formation, and some call it mental states. In fact, sankhara, to understand, you have to understand your mundane thinking, your mundane mind. In fact, everything that your mundane mind can do is sankhara. That's why in the teaching, they break up the 5 aggregate of form and mind into Vedana, Sanya, Sankhara, and Vijnana. These are the 4 aggregates of mind. The first aggregate of the 5 aggregate is the form, rupang. So rupang, there are 2 aspects. The first aspect is as a living being. For our case, is the human being, the form and mind. Where as a human being, we have a physical form. Then we have a consciousness, which is our mind, trapped inside. So the first aggregate, first aspect is the physical form, the physical body. The first aggregate. Then the mind, we can subdivide into 4 more aggregates. That's what is also stated in the teaching. Vedana, Sanya, Sankhara, Vijnana. These are Pali words. Vedana means feeling. Sanya is perception. Sankhara is this Pali word of the second link. Then Vijnana is actually the pure consciousness, the receptacle that receives the content of consciousness. So that one is the third link. Yeah. So when you look at the 4 aggregates of mind, which is Vedana, Sanya, Sankhara, Vijnana, you have studied the teaching, you will know that they are basically Sankhara. Because Sankhara, according to the Abhidhamma, is there are 52. And these 52 include feeling and perception, or Vedana and Sanya. So actually Vedana and Sanya is part of Sankhara. But the Buddha actually have to break it down into 3. because in his teaching he need to use them. Vedana is very important under the four foundations of mindfulness is Vedana Nupassana. Then perception is the aggregate of mind that brings the external form into the mind. That's why the second aspect of the five aggregate of mind come to be is because within the four aggregate of mind, Vedana, Sanya, Sankhara, Vijnana, there is also the mental form. So 4 plus 1 is also the five aggregate. And we call this the second aspect of the five aggregate of form and mind. And if Sankhara is included under the first three, means Vedana and Sanya is part of Sankhara. So basically the content of consciousness is actually Sankhara, which is everything that your mind can do is Sankhara. So this first link is Avijja. Avijja translated as ignorant. Ignorant of what? We have to ask. You have to question. So according to the teaching, they say ignorant of the Four Noble Truths. Why is it like translated as ignorant of the Four Noble Truths? We are basically the essence of the Buddha's teaching is the Four Noble Truths and its three turning. So if you do not understand this Four Noble Truths and its three turning, then you cannot have wisdom. Basically, wisdom arises from this Four Noble Truths. And these are called Noble Truths because after understanding them, one can become noble ones. And in the time of the Buddha, the noble ones are called enlightened beings, where they are very noble in all aspects of life. That's why they have the embodiment of the Noble Eightfold Path. They are very noble in their understanding of life. That's why the first path factor is the right view. They have right view with regards to the law that governs life and existence. We call it the Pancha Niyama. But out of the five universal order Pancha Niyama, the first two are scientific law, physical law of nature, Uttu Niyama, and biological order of nature, Bija Niyama. Then the other three are spiritual laws. These are very important. So the spiritual law is what we term as the important law that governs life and existence. The first one is Karma Niyama, law of karma. That's why you cannot understand the law of karma, then you don't have right view. Then the second one is the law of mind. Chitta Niyama, how your mind moves and functions as a human being, as a living being. So this one is the nature's order of mind. When you understand this, you understand clearly who you are, what you are, and how you function as a human being. How this so-called mind develop and move. Then finally is the balance of nature's law. The Buddha called it Dhamma Niyama, means the nature's order, universal order of Dhamma, or truth. Dhamma, in fact, is also the teachings of the Buddha. And what does the Buddha teach? He teaches Dhamma, which is truth, suchness, tathata. So when you understand truth, you understand the nature's law that governs life and existence, then you understand life. Then when you understand life, you know how to live life. That is basically how wonderful and how beautiful the Four Noble Truths is. So these three spiritual laws are the most important. So if you have the understanding of these three spiritual laws, then you have vijja, means you don't have avijja. Yeah. And the law of mind is related to this paticca samuppada, how your mind functions. Then the karma niyama is what we call the law of cause and effect with the moral intention incorporated. So we call it the moral causation. Yeah. So the moral causation that is incorporated within the nature's law is called the law of karma. Then the last one, Dhamma Niyama, is all the other essential Dhamma or truth as taught by the Buddha under his Dhamma teaching. So if you are enlightened, you will have this embodiment of right view with regards to these three spiritual laws. Scientific law maybe you don't need to know, but you can also understand them very fast. Even a lot of this scientific law, the scientists are still in the process of developing more and more understanding. Then, based on this first link, avijja, ignorant of truth, the scientific, the spiritual law. If you don't have the understanding of the spiritual law, then you don't know how to act. Then how do you act? You go to the memory. And what is memory? Memory is where all the accumulation of knowledge, experiences, all of your views, opinion, conditioning, and belief system, they are all there. And how does sankhara arise? Sankhara is actually thought activity. They manifest from memory. That's why for those who understand, especially J. Krishnamurti, when they ask him what is thought, he said the beginning of thought is the beginning of registration. Then when you register them through memory, then thought arises to respond to those memories. That's why when you need to know something as a human being, without the Dhamma, you will go to the brain, you will go to the memory, the conditioning, the knowledge, and whatever. Then from there, you actually make use of them to act. That's why perception arises from there. Reaction of mind arises from there. The stirring of the mind also arises from there. Then what is accumulated is all the, what they call, both all the wholesome and unwholesome memory, good and bad. And if you were to be mindful and aware, you realize what you carry in your memory is full of what we call negative mind states that are with the evil roots of greed, hatred, and delusion. Well, what we accumulate in our memory are typical things, negative emotion, especially fear, phobia, our worry, our anxiety, our unhappy moments. Of course, there are also happy moments, but they are all accumulated as memories, good and bad. So what happens is, even our greed, our selfishness, our fear, which is delusion, they are all there. There's our insecurity, phobia, fear, worry, anxiety, sorrow, lamentation, and even your whatever negativity of mind state, yeah, they are all there. So if we use this to act, then we act according to memory, which is not using wisdom. That's why when there is avijja, you tend to act according to memory. That's how Sankara create karmic negativity. But in the teaching, they only term this second link as karmic volition. Means after you die, if there is avijja, then you arise what they call karmic volition at the last thought moment. And that karmic volition is your karmic conditioning for your rebirth consciousness. So the third link, they call it the rebirth consciousness. That is according to the commentary. Then when the rebirth consciousness arises, it gives rise to birth in the next life. That's why this fourth link, Namarupang, the five aggregate of form and mind, they call it the first aspect of the human being, means rebirth consciousness condition the form and mind, which is the human being. Then for the human being to arise, there must be sense basis or living being. There must be sense basis. That's why the fifth link is Salayatana, which is a sixth sense basis. Then dependent on this sense basis, it will condition contact, which is the sixth link. Then contact condition feeling, feeling condition craving, craving condition grasping or upadana. Then grasping condition bhava, which is becoming. Then after you become, you take birth, jati. But the actual understanding is different. After I will explain the actual one. Then once there is birth, it arises the whole mass of suffering, jara, marana, etc. Or is sickness and death leading to the whole mass of sufferings, which includes sorrow, lamentation, grief, etc. So if you look at this, there is a past life, and the past life ends to the first three links, leading to rebirth consciousness. Then the second life develop the other movement. Then after that, the 10th link is like you die again, you become, then you take birth again, the 11th link. Then arise the whole mass of suffering. So to them, that is the only way they can explain it. Because if they don't explain it this way, they find it very difficult. But unless you meditate, you develop mindfulness, awareness, you cannot explain it otherwise. Very few people can. Only those well-cultivated monks or teachers or cultivated Dhamma practitioner, they can understand and they can explain. So now I explain to you the actual one. The actual one is when you don't have the Dhamma understanding or the wisdom, then there is avijja, ignorance. Ignorance or conditioned mental activity means, take for example our human life, like in the school or in the university. If you want to know something, what does your teacher or your lecturer tell you? Go back and think about it, isn't it? That's why to human being, even living being, the only way to solve their problem is thinking. Where they thought thinking is the only instrument in life that they can use to help them solve their problem. So they use the thought process. That's why sankhara arise means at the memory, like I explained just now. Thought is respond to memory. So when you go to the memory, what happens is you make contact. Your thinking is making contact with that organ. Then like the physics experiment, upon contact, what happens? The light bulb lights up. So the lighting up is equivalent to the consciousness. It makes one conscious. Where we have our six sense bases, sometimes it can make you conscious of seeing, hearing, smell, taste, tactile, and thought process. The third link, vijnana, is the thought consciousness or mental consciousness. So, dependent on ignorance, we create thought activity, sankhara, and we make contact with the brain. Then when we make contact with the brain, like the physics experiment, vijnana manifests the pure consciousness. This is what the Buddha meant by, in the seeing, there is only the seeing consciousness, no one to see. Yes, there is the pure consciousness, the content hasn't gone in. But because of avijja, what happens is, the moment we perceive, we develop the views, opinion, conditioning, and make it so habitual. That's why we immediately stir the mind or react to sense experience, thereby creating the content of consciousness. Then when you input this content of consciousness, vijnana, the pure consciousness, together with the content of consciousness, which is sankhara, based on your conditioning, belief system, etc., it developed the second aspect of the five aggregate of form and mind, which is your thought process. So the fourth link is namarup. Namarup is actually your mental five aggregate. And that thought process is the one that actually create a lot of what we call unnecessary suffering when you don't have wisdom and Dhamma understanding. So this namarup, when they arise, it means there must be sense basis, otherwise it cannot arise. That's how you explain the fifth link. Then dependent on this sense basis, there can be contact. That's why during contact, feeling can arise. Feeling is one of the second universal. But at the same time, there is the seventh universal. Contact is one of them. Then immediately feeling, then perception, then the others. So here, after you understand the first four links movement, then you will understand the rest, which is the same. But the real teaching is spontaneous, this 12 link. And sometimes it doesn't finish, and it's multidimensional. Why? Because even at the moment of avijja, paccaya sankhara, there is actually contact, ignorant contact. That's why that U-shaped thing, instead of the linear arrow, there is a avijja coming down to make contact with pasad, which is contact. So if there is ignorant contact, then this movement develop the karmic negativity. That's why at the moment of contact, feeling arise. When feeling arise, if there is ignorant contact, this feeling will be conditioned into craving straight away. You cannot cut a feeling when you don't have the wisdom. You don't have yoniso manasikara, wisdom at the moment of sense experience. If you have that, then feeling become pure feeling. The seventh link does not move and get conditioned into the eighth link, which is craving. Craving can be positive or negative. Then craving will condition grasping. Grasping are more strong emotion. When you crave for something, then you grasp into it. Yeah. So it's just like, take for example, when you like something, but that craving is not strong. That's why it will not be conditioned into grasping or upadana. But sometimes you go and think about it, yeah, then that craving becomes stronger and stronger and stronger. Then it becomes like grasping. You grasp at it already. Your thought always carry that thing. Uh, Especially if you have certain desire or lust or whatever. Then that thing actually transform you and make you become that thing. That's why the 10 link is becoming. You become the emotion. If it's lust, the lustful thing. That's why then it will condition you. If you become that thing, then it will condition you to actually act out of it. Take for example, let's say it's a lustful craving. Then that craving become grasping. So that lustful craving that grabs at that thought can actually condition that being to become that lustful emotion. And normally it's like that desire can make you act out of it through like raping somebody or trying to think of ways to realize that desire. So that becoming is you become that lustful human being, or you acted out of it and become a rapist or whatever. Then that is birth, taking birth. And when you take birth, it will arise a whole mess of suffering. That's how the Paticca Samuppada actually moves. Then from Salayatana, you see the arrow. It moved to Pasad. Pasad actually is also included in the first link, avijja, ignorant contact. Then if there's ignorant contact, it will also influence the feeling. The feeling becomes craving straight away, it moves. That's why it's multi-dimensional. Then 11 to 12 also same. This explains to us how we function as a human being every moment, every instant. But this one is not necessarily one sense basis. Sometimes when we hear something, our focus, our attention is there. That's why if there is avijja, then it will manifest the egoic mind. The egoic mind is the one that conditions our ego or personality. And where there is ego, there is this evil roots of greed and hatred. Where the ego is sakayaditi, self-delusion. When there is self-delusion, when there is an ego, or what we call personality, then that is a delusion. Then it activates greed and hatred. That's why the three evil roots manifest. That's why the pure vijnana is, in the seeing, there is only the pure seeing, the seeing consciousness, no one to see. But because of avijja, the input of content of consciousness has the ego, which is the sakayaditi. That's why from there, it will condition the subsequent link that is born of avijja. That's why karmic activity manifests. Moral, immoral. the content of consciousness, it will carry with the moral causation, yeah, wholesome and unwholesome. So when it talks about wholesome and unwholesome, we will have to develop the Dhamma understanding so that we do not violate the precept and create unnecessary negativity or karmic conditioning or karmic manifestation. That's how we cultivate. Yeah. That's why we have to follow the advice of the Buddha, avoid all evil, do good, and purify the mind. And how do we avoid all evil? We have to keep the precepts. We cannot violate, we cannot break. We have to develop the appropriate understanding and wisdom. So all these are in the teaching. Yeah. Then after we have understood this, then what I want to share with you is, let's say when you are paying attention to one of your sense bases, the hearing consciousness, the seeing consciousness, when you see something, let's say, then you go and think, you go and create the Sankara activity, the whole movement. But in between, suddenly, let's say, there's a very loud interference. Somebody call you, or loud sound, or whatever. Then that sense basis, that sense data is more strong. It imprints on that sense basis. Then your attention, your mental, shift to that sense organ. That's why the Paticca Samuppada, the first one based on seeing one, it will not complete the whole chain. And after that, your attention move to hearing. And sometimes if the sense is too strong, it will take over again. That's why your mind does not flow in a single dimensional movement. Based on the sense basis, then sometimes it moves very fast. Then all these 6 sense bases, they are very, very fast. Sometimes it's faster than lightning. Well, that is how your mind moves. And when you are not mindful, how can you cope with life? You can't. That's why all these movements, they are very complicated, very complex. And without Dhamma, you cannot actually attend to it. You cannot really manage your life. But when you have the Dhamma, when you are mindful and aware, you can be at all the link. You can be at the point of contact. You will stay there, you will not move. Then you release it, then you can feel, sense the feeling. Then that feeling will remain as pure feeling, where there is wisdom, vijja, or we call yoniso manasikara, wisdom at the moment of sense experience. Then if feeling become pure feeling, you don't need to cut, where it cannot move to craving, tanha. If there is no craving, there is no grasping, there is no becoming, there is no birth, there is no suffering. That's how the link ceases. That's why with the cessation of ignorance, Sankara activity become pure activity, born of wisdom, born of Dhamma understanding. You act according to the Dhamma. Then you can see the pure vijnana. You can be at the moment of seeing, before the input of content of consciousness. Then you can see, based on your Dhamma wisdom, the content of consciousness that went in is actually without avijja, without ignorance, without the evil roots of greed, hatred and delusion. And the whole movement become very clear. And that's how this teaching can be understood. If you cultivate mindfulness, awareness, stability of it, not only in formal meditation, but in the midst of life, your daily mindfulness. you can do that. Then you can see this link very clearly. uh, and you truly understand what the Buddha meant. Okay, so we finish. We move on to the notes. Now I read the notes, you will understand easily. The first link is ignorant. Ignorant of what? The truth or the realities of life and existence means the Four Noble Truth. There is lacking the right view with regards to the three spiritual laws of Karma Niyama, law of karma, or the Four Noble Truth, which is the law of Dhamma. Oh, sorry, the order, the Pali. It should be the law of cause and effect first, dependent origination. And this is what we call the dwelling. The dwelling is part of the Chitta Niyama. Then the last part, Dhamma, is the Four Noble Truth. Okay, one major aspect of ignorance is sakkayaditthi, self-delusion. I already explained. This is a sole culprit that conditions our grasping and holding on to all the creation of the mind as real and trying to own and possess them. So, sakkayaditthi or self-delusion is the major culprit. That's why the 10 factors, the first factors that bind living being, which living being need to break to be enlightened, is sakkayaditthi, self-delusion. Yeah. So this sakkayaditthi is the one that will condition you to grasp and cling where you think you exist. There's a personality that arises, the ego, onto all the creation of the mind. The creation of mind is your phenomenal world of consciousness. And when you grasp onto the phenomenal world of consciousness as real, and you try to own them and possess them, then you develop entanglement, leading to suffering. Upon understanding clearly via meditation that there is no ego or the I and the me or atta within this 5 degree of form and mind of ours, then there is no more wrong view or self-delusion to grasp and cling onto the phenomenal world of consciousness created by mind, by our mundane mind. With this wisdom, the form and mind can be free of all suffering. That's the beauty of the teaching. Because of this ignorance or wrong view, living beings think a lot. And thinking arises because they don't understand what is going on in life. That's why wanting to know, wanting to experience, they think that is the only instrument that they are aware of. Means the thought, the mundane thinking, the mundane mind. That is the only instrument deluded living being knows about. That's why I used to share with you all the Puja, the unenlightened living being. They think a lot. Even my teacher Acharya, he also say in the early days, normal human beings think a lot. That's why they call them Puja. They have a lot of heedless thinking. So heedless thinking, born of heedlessness, is the path to the dead. The heedless are as if dead. So all this is very clear. So it's conditioned by ignorance or wrong view or sakkayaditthi. And when you have wrong view, sakkayaditthi, you think a lot. And thinking arises because you don't understand what is going on in life. You don't have right view. And you worry about life. So one thing to know and one thing to understand life, living beings create more thinking or sankhara activity. Hence, they become more heedless. That's why hence becoming more heedless. As mind is an organ of thoughts, So this thinking create contact. When you think, you go to the brain, you create contact. The trigger of the mental consciousness or vijnana, which is a third link. Then within this vijnana, there is this mental form that enters the mind via the aggregates of perception or sanya. Hence arise the five mental aggregates of form and mind, namarup, the second aspect, the thought process. Then I cut short. Please read the blue book, Dhamma discussion transcript on the law of dependent origination, dated May 2008, based on the direct transcript from the recorded talk as given by me on 8th of September 2005. Actually, the second year, I came out and shared the Dhamma with the Kalyamita in the year 2004, end of 2004, the tsunami period, the ASEAN Great Tsunami. Then, within less than a year, I actually shared this teaching, the law of dependent origination. Then they find it very useful. They develop the transcript. Then I edit. Then we make it into a book. So if you want to know more, you go and read the book. It's in our website, brotio.com. And inside there, explain very clearly. It's not a thick book. It's just, I think, 60 pages or what about that. And inside there, I explain in great detail why the commentaries explain it over 3 periods of time, and only a few teachers and monks explain it differently. One of them is Ajahn Buddhadasa. He is a very good monk from Swanmok, Thailand. He's also Ajahn Yantra's teacher. If you want to read more on your own, you can read. And the one that is the actual teaching, I also explain in the book, and I give a lot of examples. Okay. Oh, just nice. Okay, we end here. Almost 9:40, 45. Okay, we end here. Now we come back to our second session, which is meditation reporting, followed by whatever question you may have. You can also discuss today's topic or share whatever Dhamma experience that you have developed and help other people to develop the understanding. Okay, now we open up. Anybody wants to come in, you can just on your mic.
Good evening, Brother and all Kalimitas. Brother, regarding to night talk, this dependent origination,
yes.
now I listen back, I can quite understand it.
Wow, sadhu,
Last
very
time, the
good.
first time, I don't really get it.
Yeah,
I find it very complicated.
Today one is I explain quite clearly and in greater detail. By now, I think more people can understand already. Then you go and read the transcript book. Now it will be very clear to you.
Okay. Then, Brother, I want to share about our recent trip to this Fujian and
that one is very good.
Fujian and Jiangxi.
Jiangxi.
First of all, I want to thank Brother Teo for leading us to this trip. Otherwise, it won't be possible.
Sadhu.
Then actually, the last 2 weeks before the trip, I actually quite worried and not go about karmic obstruction like last year trip. So after this trip completed, I feel very happy. Can go and come back safely.
Because once you develop the understanding and continuously ask for forgiveness, then develop the faith, all this will clear. Then it will not lead to any more future karmic obstruction. That's why understanding it is very important.
At first, I be worried. I like hoping, worry something may happen last minute.
Yeah,
I cannot go.
but based on what you and Wai Fun developed through the faith and the cultivation, shouldn't be any more problem. In fact, the previous trip is a real karmic thing, but it also went off and clear because that time it involved Wai Fun. Then both of you were actually quite anxious, but luckily you all contacted me. Then when you all that night itself, actually before the trip, I think you got only 1.5 days left only.
Yes.
Admitted. Then you contacted me there, and I sent my pure wish, and I invoke power of merits based on your sincerity and wholesomeness, especially Wai Fun's. Then I said, don't worry, just let things be. Then it turned out good news. Then everything went on smoothly. Then you all get to go. Then that's how you experience the wonderful spiritual trip. Then after that, it gave you the faith, the condition to actually go on this trip again. So this has given you all not only the faith and the condition, but the understanding of it is very important. So now you will have deeper understanding of how spiritual trip can help you all develop the cultivation. And these spiritual trips are very unique and very, I should say, important in like forming part of the cultivation. In fact, a lot of Kalimita who went with me, they know all this spiritual trip, it gives rise to great understanding, transformation within, and also development of faith. Very good, Sadhu. You continue.
Brother, I wish to share 3 incidents that I remember during this trip.
Oh, Sadhu.
First of all, is I feel very blessed during this trip.
Yeah.
The one is especially on the night after the dinner. We didn't bring any thicker jacket. We didn't know that we're going to go up the mountain there. It's so cold up there.
Low sun,
Yeah. But luckily after the dinner, just come out in front of the store selling this jacket.
Oh, yeah, you all get to buy.
Otherwise, I think the trip will be very cold for us.
Yeah. In fact, that one is like meant to be. Our restaurant is just next to it, it's like a pasar malam. Then I think say, hey, these are cheap and good stuff. Then one by one start buying. Even Raymond also lucky get to buy them. That's why when the conditioning is there, when what we call the nature's movement is activated, it will bring about this. Actually, it's normally impossible to find this type of clothing selling so cheap along the street there. And exactly, outside our restaurant, when we come out before we go up the bus.
And the quality also very good.
Yeah. The quality also very good. And for that price, really is cheap. I think it's less than 80 renminbi.
80 to 100.
80 to 100.
It's about 60 ringgit.
Yeah, about 60 ringgit, which is very cheap and quality very good. And these are, I should say, comparable to the one that Sui and Ben bought for me. You call what? Montbell. Montbell is hella expensive. But this
I think they're
quality,
over 500.
No, 1,000 plus ringgit. 2,000.
If you buy in Japan, 500-600 ringgit.
Oh, buy in Japan cheaper, Sui say. 600 ringgit. Yeah. But you buy here is 1,000 plus or 2,000. And this Montbell, of course, the quality is good. Wow, man, you had thumbs up. It appears on the screen also. Very good. And that warm clothing are really good quality and so cheap. And so many of you bought, my nature also reject. And it's meant to be. That's why. You did mention it. We also overlook it, but you mention it now. That one is really. You can say it's meant to be. I don't want to use the word like miracle, but it's meant to be. Yeah. Good, good. That sharing.
Then the other one experience I felt is during this the Tongling.
Tongling. The Tongling, the two monastery, they are very fantastic. The first one is the modern one, the newly built one, Tongling, Jingtu, and the Tongling Dafo also there. Then the second one is the old 1,300 old years monastery. That one is Tongling Si, or Tongling Chan Si. Yes.
During
You
the
describe.
Tongling Si, the lady, the tall lady wearing black shirt, when
Yeah,
she
black shirt
gave
on,
the
yeah,
explanation of the
correct.
temple.
The Sijie,
Yeah. She mentioned about this Hui Yuan master, talk about the history.
correct.
When she told it, then suddenly my eyes like filled with tears like that,
Oh, sadhu.
But I didn't really cry out lah.
Don't
But
worry.
I also feel funny. How come suddenly I like feel very
It will
emotional
manifest
like that?
because of what we call affinity. Affinity. That is from the nature inside deep. Then it causes the tears to flow. It can happen.
Then after that, the next few days, I actually after that I don't feel like talking or take
You want
photos
to become
anymore.
like remain very quiet, silent.
Yes,
That is
yes.
a good sign. Because that nature inside will make you like that. Then you will just quiet, silent. Even in the retreat, if that happen, very good. Because when you have that, that one will help you stabilize that awareness inside and activate the movement inside. Then it can bring about a lot of progress and understanding. Very good, very good.
So after that, the next few days, I mean, wherever you all go, I just follow only lah. I like
Just
also
follow.
didn't see sightseeing or what.
Yeah. You will know how to do that one naturally. Because
Then the
deep inside. You continue. Yes.
then the third one during the brother you give your sharing in the hotel.
Yeah. The second last day, I think.
Yes. And that night actually when you share the thing, they summarize the like whole cultivation.
Whole cultivation, yes.
Somehow I can understand the whole
Wow,
thing.
sadhu. Well, that one talk about the nature one. Oh, that one not
Yes.
easy. About how the heart there can be activated on.
Yes.
That
I
one
only
very
regret
important.
didn't record it.
Never mind. It will come somehow, or rather, it will just arise on, because you have that affinity and that condition to receive those teachings. That night, actually, I don't intend to speak on that one, but I don't know what happened. Is like the non-humans around there, they want to understand. Then suddenly, I went into that, no, and I start from like. The very beginning, like how we use our hand, like we call that the when you fold your palm, Anjali, that posture. There's an energy pointing towards your heart, or no? And I remember in the early days when I developed the cultivation, since the university days and all those things, the Buddhist society, then I go to Brickfield. Then because of the faith, every time I fold my palm, I realize there's an energy going to my heart area. Then later on, when I start to develop the meditation, then I realize this heart area, like on its own, become activated, like it open up and become sensitive. That's why when Acharya Yantra came, I can feel his energy, even Xuanhua when he came, when I took the refuge. I can feel his energy coming in, and it become very like very different, very different. Then I realized after that, when I start to follow the advice of Ajahn Andra, we choose away every action, every movement in the present moment. Then I start to return my awareness back to my heart area, my heart area. Then that time, I still haven't located the gateway to my nature. And I realized the energy there actually built up until very, very strong, uh, telling me I cannot overdo it because there was no outlet. And the energy built up until I have to slow down the cultivation. Then later on, after I transform, then when I developed the daily mindfulness, then I met my last guide. After my last guide showed me where the gateway is, then only I understood what this movement is. All my yin-yang energy last time, I got no outlet. That one those energy melt inside and become pure energy. And it transformed me, and after that, the whole heart area open up. And a lot of movement. That's why after he showed me the gateway, I did the force support, the trust. The whole movement transformed me. And I reached back my level from my past cultivation very fast. I think within 9 months, my Monday mind collapsed and I go back to my past cultivation level straight away. It's like breeze through very fast. That's why after that, I start to develop those understanding that I never learned this life. Then how did I understood all this? It's because in the past, this nature has gone through the cultivation before. Except this life, there was condition for me to receive this location of the gateway earlier, 10 to 15 years earlier, because of my vow. My nature vow to come during transition period and to develop the highest wisdom at any one time when this nature arises. And because of that, my last guy had to come to meet up with me and explain to me or show me where the gateway is. And because of that, all this become possible. Actually, my last guy, impossible for me to know him or even meet up with him, because he is an Indonesian who went to New Zealand and become a New Zealander, then meditate there very long, very sick and all that thing. Then only when he was at the age of 60, I think, he decided to come out to maybe share whatever he understands with people. Then that time, like I told you, the Singapore Kayamita that I came to know, K.C. Un, he was with the Theosophical Society, so he was hunting around for all these gurus and teachers, and he located him. That's why he went and a few times, but asked me to come along, but I said no need. Well, that time I already don't need teacher. But because of that, he went there, I think, 2 times I didn't follow him. Then the second time when he came back, he told me, he said, Mr. Teo, we are very lucky. I invited him and he agreed to come over. That's why when he was in Singapore, he kept on calling me and said, you must come, you must come. For 6 occasions, no, I didn't really agree. Then somehow my nature knew. I don't know who he is. Means my nature know I must meet him. No matter how I must meet him. I don't know who he is, but I know I must meet him. That's why it happened, and I agree after that. Then the seventh time, I really met him. And the rest is history. That's why all this, it just happened. And that night, I actually spoke all this, explained all this. And that one actually shows that you have strong affinity and you can actually develop that type of cultivation. Means you and Wai Fun, I think your affinity with this teaching is there, with my nature is there. Otherwise, the way you come and the way things manifest cannot be like that. So sadhu to you and Wai Fun. Yeah, you continue.
Sadhu Raja. Then that night I understand the whole cultivation.
Oh, very good, sadhu.
Then my understanding is I just need to do only.
Correct.
I just need
Develop
to
the
cultivate
faith.
only.
And the mindfulness, stabilize it. That night I also explained. You just continue to develop the faith and stabilize the mindfulness. Then everything will develop on its own. The progress, the transformation, the understanding, all will come. And this teaching is very, very unique and very amazing. Wonderful too.
And then still the future trip, all the spiritual trip, my wife and I will definitely follow.
Sadhu, yeah, sadhu, rejoice. Sadhu, yeah.
I think my wife also has something to share.
Okay. Get Wai Fun to share.
Yeah, I pass the
Wai
mic to
Fun,
her.
yeah. Wai Fun, come.
Good evening, Brother
Yeah,
Teo,
yeah.
Mrs. Teo, and Kayamitas.
Sadhu, yeah.
Brother Teo, first of all, I would like to thank you for taking us to this spiritual trip.
Sadhu.
I have very good experience and a joyful trip.
Sadhu.
Then, of course, before the trip, I recall the Qingdao trip, you know.
Yeah.
Public obstruction, I read the yellow card.
Yeah, the yellow card. Ask for
1 month before, I read the yellow card. Ask for forgiveness.
Lucky. That was a good one.
Luckily.
That's why the yellow card is very useful, very, very important. And it's very effective.
Okay. Regarding this trip, put aside the good food, good hotel, good temple, and good scenes. I have a couple of experience to share. The first one is at Xichan Temple. This one involved Mrs. Teo. At the Xichan Temple, and at the main shrine there, after I pay respect to Shakyamuni Buddha, then I move to the right side. Then I pay respect also. I think, of course, Mrs. Teo pay respect first. Then I stood next to her and I began to kneel down and pay respect. The moment I look at the Buddha Rupang, Brother Teo, I don't know who is he. Chinese character also don't know how to. So I just kneel down and pay respect. But after that, the moment I stood up, Mrs. Teo already began to tell me who is he. Explain to me, the Shakyamuni Buddha is in the middle, Medicine Buddha and Amitabha. Then I feel very surprised. How come the condition can arise like that? I don't know. Then the condition arise for somebody to tell me, So I asked Mrs. Teo, how come? How come she knows that I want the answer?
It's meant to be, because this is what we call spiritual trip that can create this type of condition for you to develop the understanding. Because for you and Chan, you all have this affinity and condition, then this type of trip can bring about causes and condition for you to actually connect back very fast. Because like I mentioned in the Bodhisattva way or the Supreme Vehicle teaching, those who take the Bodhisattva way, you have to cultivate strong affinity, even in the yellow card I mentioned, with all the great beings, the Buddha and the Bodhisattvas or Mahasattva. And these great beings, you have to ask for their blessing, protection, and guidance. And normally, all this in our previous life's cultivation, if you are a cultivator, you have the affinity, you actually have developed quite a bit of it. Then this life, for you to connect back, you have to learn this. But it will come in a way where you can learn it very fast and very easily. That's why not only we see these three Buddha, which is quite common, but later on there was one monastery towards the end, I remember, there were 5 Buddhas. The 5 is, the Sakyamuni one is, we call it Jambuvapi, center. Then the east, west, north, south, the other 4 Buddhas. That one also very unique, and that one seldom we come across, because that one only built by the monks or the founder or the one that actually built the thing. Is at the, I think, one of the new temple. I think it's Dongling, Jingtu, the area. And this 5 Buddha one is actually quite rare, and you can develop affinity with them. They are very meaningful and very beautiful. That's why this particular trip we met a lot. And the nature there, the energy very strong, especially the first 5 or 6 days of our trip. The energy there, in fact, this Dongling Chansi and the Dongling Jingtu or Tafo, this area, the whole of the area, I call it the way place, Daochang. The energy is as strong as the Utai San. Utai San also, the whole Utai San is full of that type of spiritual energy, very strong. And these are very unique causes and conditions that can manifest. That's why my nature rejoices when I hear chant sharing and your sharing, and also Puja the other Tuesday. These are very beautiful.
Actually, Brother Teo, during that trip, there are many times you ask us to silence the mind.
Yeah. That is a very important
during
advice. Yes.
the bus journey.
The bus journey and all. Actually, just silent. But the energy is very strong. And most of you all who are there are charged up. Without you knowing it, actually your heart area is already charged up. And of course, it comes with the faith, the joy, the good food, and the fun and everything. That's why this trip is very special, very unique. Yeah, you continue, Wai Fun.
Okay, then my second experience is that we have a train ride of 4 hours, right?
Yeah.
So I use this opportunity to train my mind.
Wow,
to train my mind to be silent. Of course, not throughout the 4 hours. Intermittently, I can do that, Then after the train ride, we took a bus to Taiyuan Temple.
Yeah, correct.
The Taiyuan Temple vicinity, yes.
Yeah.
So when we reached the Taiyuan Temple vicinity, suddenly I felt that there's a shift inside me, right?
Wow, sadhu.
I feel suddenly very quiet, don't want to talk.
Wow,
I can be aware of myself. Even during lunchtime, I can be aware of my movement. I don't want to talk already. During that lunch.
Sadhu. Wow,
it's like
very good.
I'm I can
no
aware
wonder
the
at the train, at the
topic.
train, you and Chan were sitting in front of me and my wife. And I saw you all exceptionally quiet, especially you. You just sat there and you hardly make any noise and all those things. Oh, very good. Sadhu. Oh, no wonder. Now I understand.
So in the restaurant, I think the experience was very wonderful. I can be aware of the noise within our table, and the next table, they are chattering, talking.
Sadhu.
I
Wow,
just
means your
aware
sati.
of the noise.
Yeah, your sati has stabilized. Oh, these are
I
very
can aware of
good.
the noise.
These are very good experience, so that you will understand what that nature is, the pure awareness nature is. When it manifests, it gives you the understanding and the faith. Then you will really were determined to go all out and cultivate it. And once that one stabilized, based on what you and Chan described, you all will progress very fast. And this coming retreat, it will benefit you a lot, because the next 1 month plus 2 days, we are going to have our retreat. And this time around, with your understanding and affinity and experience that you have gone through, affinity that have allowed you to develop all this, the sharing at the retreat and the cultivation, you will transform and develop the understanding even faster. And this time around is a second retreat, and this second retreat is going to make you very different. You're not only capable of developing the deeper understanding, you will enjoy the whole sharing. It's like very clear, all the sharing from the Heart Sutra and whatever I say, you can absorb it very fast. Then you continue to relax, maintain awareness, silent. Then develop it. At the retreat, you can transform faster. When the nature's energy there, the great beings' nature, they are all there. Sadhu, very good.
Yeah. So during that lunchtime, I can aware of the noise and even the restaurant playing songs.
Yeah.
Initially, it's just a noise, but if I want to perceive and find out what's the
Correct,
song
you
title,
can
I
do it.
can. If
Sadhu.
not, then I come back and just aware
Yeah,
with the
stay in the center,
noises.
at the heart there.
Yeah. So after lunch, then we walk to the west and east pagoda, the 1,300 years old pagoda. So during the walking journey, also I can be aware of my movement.
The mindfulness is there. Yeah, the awareness is there.
Yeah.
Very good, Sadhu.
But then when I reach the pagoda, I start taking pictures. I
Oh,
miss
no
it
problem,
already.
because this is normal, part and parcel of the daily life that living being has to go through and manifest. Then later on, as you develop more stability of cultivation, you will become normal again. Then you can take photo or whatever, no more problem. But initially, when the thing is experienced, the transformation, like you experience it together with Chan, you like with no one, you don't want to talk one, you just want to stay inside there and allow that thing to actually allow the transformation to happen. That's why all this will manifest and happen. This is what Pacetang means, the Buddha said. The Dhamma can only be realized by the wise, each for themselves. Only those who go through, they experience this type of transformation. They experience this type of things happening inside. That's why the way you all describe it is very good. Sadhu.
Then another experience is at the Mount Lu. The hotel was very good.
Yeah.
Then in that morning, that day I can rest very well. So in the morning I woke up about 5, and then I suddenly I feel like I want to meditate. So when I meditate, I can aware of the bird chirping,
very good.
As early as 5 a.m. Mount Lu was so cold there, the bird already start chirping very clear. So actually, so that meditation actually condition my whole day. I feel very at bliss, at ease. That's why later on we moved to a park, and then Chan and I decided not to continue the other stretch of the park where they have to climb the stairs. So we moved out to the other exit. So Chan and I were actually at the exit there.
No wonder you all stay there for quite long.
So that that area also I feel very
meant
relaxed.
to be. You will
No
know how to
thought.
select the locality where it suit you, and you will know. You will settle down there.
So even though both of us were sitting and standing, we also seldom talk because I also don't like to don't want to talk so
Sadhu,
much. He
the
also don't want
nature
to talk
has
so much. We just
transformed you.
stay there.
You will just stay there, and you will just like develop the awareness to appreciate whatever that is manifesting from the area. In fact, the area, the energy is very good. The energy. That's why we decide not to follow them. You remember? Only the six of us.
Yes.
Then we follow that Liang Liang, that lady, to the place where they're supposed to come out.
Yes.
I forgot the name already. 有一个 don't know what.
仙人洞啊。
仙人洞 yes. The
仙人洞
immortal gate,
Immortal
I
Cave.
think. Immortal gate,
Mm.
Sadhu, very good.
And then another experience is during your Dhamma sharing, Brother Teo.
The evening was
at
fantastic.
the hotel there. That night, I can feel the vibration
the energy very strong.
from your voice. I can feel the
very
vibration
strong.
go inside me.
Sadhu. Miss Chan and your heart there starts to move already. Then during the retreat, you will receive a lot more. That type of vibration is mind to mind seal actually. And you will go in. You will go in. Sadhu, very good.
Actually, the first trip, honestly, Brother Teo, when I follow Brother Teo to Qingdao trip, that time I'm not so clear how to go to a spiritual trip.
That was your first trip.
Partly I go as a tourist, partly I try to follow what's the spiritual trip is like, you know. But then in this second trip,
very different already.
very
That's why
different
you can
already. I
see
know
the
how to
big
silence the
difference.
mind. Yes.
Because after almost a year, you had developed a lot of understanding, and unknowingly, all this understanding has helped you and Chan, who has developed the faith and the affinity, to develop the understanding and progress. That's why you will be full of joy. That's why you all are actually beautiful Kanyamitas and beings. Sadhu. Very good.
Actually, going to spiritual trip, I really need to silence the mind.
Need to
chattering
silence.
so much.
Before
Especially
that,
at the
on your
late hours.
own, you all went to Liu Chu there, and your son.
Yes.
That one also helped you all because of the faith. Very good, Sadhu. That's why when your time come, you will move on, and you will go all out and do all this. It's just like that year, I think 1986, when Kuan Yin came with the message, you must move fast, not much time left. I really cultivate almost non-stop. Sometimes it's like 24 hours a day. Where my awareness that time was developed already. Then during that 3 years, 87, 88, 89, the book come, the teacher come, the guide come, everything come. And that time, on my own, of course, I also went for spiritual trip. But I benefited from those spiritual trips. That's why after that, when the year 2004, when I come out to share, I realized the spiritual trip actually helped. Then Kayamita also that time, like meant to be, they also came to me and proposed to me to have, actually, they don't call it spiritual trip. Initially, they just call it like a normal, you go overseas, or you go to maybe the famous way place of the great beings. So we all actually started with the Putosan then we go to Jiuhuasan, including Huangshan, I remember at that time. Then the Ermei-san, then there is another one is Puja-san, Ermei-san, Utai-san,
Utai-san.
Utai-san. So we cover the Sitaming-san. So the famous Buddhist way place where all the great beings develop their cultivation and all those things. So that time I took them on many other trips. Then of course in between we also went to New Zealand and other places. Of course Thailand is a lot of trips go to Thailand. So at that time actually is like meant to be, and all this trip just happened. Then later on, I think the second batch group people come, they also requested that I also bring them along. And that's when we start to meet Mr. Earlier on was not Mr. So all these are like meant to be. Very good, sadhu.
I think, Brother Teo, when we follow Brother Teo's to trip, we can learn more,
Yeah, a lot
learn more
more.
in the sense that, in terms of the cultivation, silence the mind.
Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe your natures help us, Brother Teo.
Oh, definitely. Like I say, we travel together. Then for those that have the faith and the affinity, and your causes and conditions will manifest, where the faith and the affinity actually will create all these causes and conditions. And then when it happens, you really cannot believe what happened. No. It's like beyond your wildest dream. No. It's like, how can you have such luck? Actually, it's not luck. It's all from the past, already conditioned. Oh, there's a message. Sweet.
From Poching. Oh, thank you, Sister
Sadhu.
Poching.
Yeah, so I read, rejoice, sadhu, to Brother Chai and Sister Wai Fun for the beautiful sharing in developing good meditative experience and understanding during the Fujian and Jiangxi spiritual retreat. Sadhu. Wow, very good. Yeah.
Sadhu.
Sadhu. Yeah, very good.
Yeah. That's all my sharing, Brother Teo.
Very good. So let us rejoice with the good sharing by Brother Chan and Sister Wai Fun. Sadhu. Today's sharing is very good. You all should listen. And exactly, almost 10 o'clock. Another 1 minute. Or 10:30, another 1 minute. Okay, let us rejoice. Then we will share merits. Okay, now we will share merits, starting with the Devas. Akasata cha bhumata deva naga mahindika punyang tang anamoditwa chirang rakantu loka sasana itta wata cha amehi sampadan punya sampadan sabbe deva anumodantu sabba sampati siddhya idang menya tinang hotu sukita hontu nyatayo idang menya tinang hotu sukita hontu nyatayo idang menya tinang hotu sukita hontu nyatayo devo asatukalina sasa sampati hetu cha vito bhavatu loko cha raja bhavatu dhammiko imina punyang kamina mame bala samagamo satang samagamo hotu yawa nivana patiya sadhu. Okay, you all can now pay respect mindfully to Lord Buddha, Kuan Yin Bodhisattva, and all the worthy ones. There we end. Thank you. Sadhu.